Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on the Lane. Yesterday I was watching Kung Fu Panda with my family, and it was Kung Fu Panda 2. I don't think I hadn't seen Kung Fu Panda 2, but I did see Kung Fu Panda 3 around 2014, 2015. With my godson and my cousins, and I was crying. I was crying mostly because his father came back into his life. He thought that his parents had passed, and that whole thing. Whenever I see whenever someone loses their parent, or someone has, whenever somebody loses their parent, it's something that really messes with me. It's something that really makes me sad. Everything makes me sad, but I don't know. That's definitely one of the things. Many things make me cry, but anyhow, Kung Fu Panda 2, the whole moral or message that I got from Kung Fu Panda 2, and it's a recurring word and a recurring phrase, is inner peace. Now, Kung Fu Panda 2, in the beginning, Po, he finds out that who he thinks his father isn't his father, so he wants to find out who his father is. So simultaneously, while he's trying to find out who his father is, the person who was involved in the disappearance of his parents is on a campaign to take over all of China. So those two stories intersect, and Po eventually has to try to pursue and stop. I think his name is Chen. Has to stop Chen from taking over China, and also he's also pursuing Chen in order to find out what happened to his parents. So, through the struggle and the fight and the confrontation to do that, he has a lot of battles. He has to battle a whole bunch of wolves. He has to. That's mainly what he has to do. But there's a lot of little other pitfalls and stuff. But his teacher, Magwai, I think his name is Magwai, something like that. His teacher, his sensei, master, is teaching him from the beginning of the film about inner peace. And what ultimately it comes down to is Chen, who is trying to take over China. He's dealing with a lot of pent-up emotional issues. He was trying to impress his parents when he was young, end up committing a whole bunch of atrocities, and then his parents were very disappointed in him and they banished him. So through that confusion, through that disappointment, Chen just went on a path of being destructive, and he never let go of the fact that his parents were disappointed in him, and it kind of continued to drive him to do all of the bad things that he was doing. So at the end of the film, Po kind of comes to Po makes peace with the fact that he lost his parents. And you see that Chen has not made peace with the fact that his parents rejected him, of course, because he did something wrong, but his parents rejected him. Chen hasn't come to peace with those things. So as a result, Po is able to channel his energy and to become greater. He's able to make another step in his development by letting go of that that pain. So there's one instance where Chen says to Po, how were you able to do that? I scarred you for life. And then Po responds, but scars heal, you know? And then they make a little joke, but ultimately Po increases in his maturity. He heals. He tries to heal. He's healing, he's dealing. He's dealing with the fact that he lost his parents. He's healing from that. And it made him able to increase his skill and his power and all that, while Chen eventually got defeated at everything that he tried to do. And ultimately Po tried to help him and give him some advice on how to deal with his issues, but Chen did not want to listen, and he's still pursuing and still holding on to his anger and his disappointment. Ultimately he basically destroys himself due to his anger and his holding on to the past and on things like that. So these cartoons are I don't know, these cartoons speak to me now as I'm paying attention to them, not just for the entertainment value, but for the message. It's a wonderful movie, Kung Fu Panda 2. Jack Black is a great and very entertaining guy, very funny. The guy from Allstate is in it. The guy from That's Allstate, Stan. Are you in good hands? That guy, he's the bull. He's one of the kung fu masters in the movie. I'm sure there's a lot of other big names in it, but I just don't know who they are. But I could recognize the voices. I mean, Jack Black's name is everywhere, but I could recognize the guy from Allstate's voice. But in a piece, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I'm gonna ask him to talk on some things eventually. And I was talking to him, and I was saying things, and he was replying, and basically explain. He would say, I would say this, and he would say that, and then I would say this, and then he would say, well, I don't mean that, yada yada, blah 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 blah. So what happened is, he learned that he's kind of a confrontational, forceful kind of person. So in the conversation, he allowed me to speak, and I was really observing that he has really changed. Before he told me that he's been going through a process to become who he is. But I kind of noticed that the way how he conversed was different. It kind of seemed over the top a little bit, because he was apologizing for things that I don't think that were necessary. But like he became more peaceful, basically. But and there's nothing, it's perfect. I'm not criticizing it. It's perfect. So he, whichever way he chooses to do it is perfect. He's not hurting anybody. He's trying to help. So he's working on his own inner peace. And it's resulted in I think it's resulted in for him in improvements in his relationships, and it resulted in promotions at work. It's resulted in him taking walks and bettering his health. It's resulted in him trying to mend connections which were probably damaged to the level where people wouldn't really speak again. So it's really it's made, he's gotten his inner peace, and he's now spreading peace, you know what I mean? So it's wonderful to see the same moral of the story of Kung Fu Panda kind of in real life. It's just, nobody can give you inner peace. You got to give it to yourself. Nobody gave Po inner peace. His sensei, I think his name is Magwai or something like that, just told him about inner peace. He just told him that he showed him a kung fu move where he like took some water, and he made the water droplet fall off a leaf, and then the leaf took the water droplet and dropped it into the ocean, into the river, right? So when he showed him that move, Po said, "How did you do that?" And Magwai said, "Inner peace." And then at the end of the movie, again, Chen asks Po, "How did you do that?" And Po said, "Inner peace." So what the response, inner peace, is the response to how did you do that with all that was going on with you? How did you accomplish that with all that was going on with you, with all of the bad things that were going on with you, with all the pain from the past and the conflict and people attacking you and all these things? How did you achieve that? And the answer was inner peace. So there was a war going on. Chen and Po, they were fighting a battle. It's cannons and swords and knives and all kind of stuff going on. But it's his inner peace that allowed him to get through that. So, if you're fighting with your own self, I mean, you're fighting on every front. You definitely don't want to fight with yourself. You want inner peace. Now how we actually get it, I don't exactly know how we get it. This is not a cartoon. So how do we actually get inner peace? I have no idea how we actually get inner peace. Now you can get inner peace through religion or some old school, ancient meditation or aromatherapy or I don't know, connecting with nature, walking out in nature or whichever way. It's not just, I don't think it's just one way. I don't just think one thing will help you get inner peace. It's a combination of things. Of course, that was Kung Fu Panda 2 was just a cartoon. It can't really go through the whole process of teaching you inner peace. You can listen to some calming music or something. You can disconnect from the phone. For instance, from me right now, the stock market is doing so bad. I had some stocks invested. But ultimately, when you're investing, you're not really supposed to just watch your stocks. You're supposed to hold them and let them just grow till the point where you've made a decent return and you just sell, right? Like, you give it years. You're not supposed to watch it. You're not supposed to check it every day. You're not supposed to check it every week. You're not even probably supposed to check it every month. You maybe want to check it every 3 months. So I had my TD Ameritrade app on my phone, and my phone broke, so I had to transfer all my information to another phone. So what I didn't bother installing my TD Ameritrade, and it's just one other stressful thing. All the stocks are down right now, so you can't sell when you're down. So it's just, might as well you just hold on to them, and just they're viable companies like JetBlue and stuff like that. So eventually it's gonna come back up, but right now JetBlue isn't gonna go out of business. So I don't have to worry about it. I just leave it alone and not watch it every day. Just forget about it. That's one less stress I gotta worry about. I didn't bring over a lot of apps. Like, I just realized I have over 100 apps. I have close to 100 apps I had close to 100 apps on my phone. So I didn't bring a lot of them over to the new device. Most of them I don't even use. So, that's just one less distressing, and if you can automate some things, you can try to automate some things. If you want to, you know, listen to some calming, positive music, not a angry, confrontational, kind of rousing music, like some jazz or some classical or the birds, the birds are chirping right now, that's very relaxing. So, but inner peace, not holding on to anger, not holding on to the past. We don't live there anymore, things like that. But hey, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a psychologist. Um, yeah, so that's a great. I just wanted to say, I just wanted to share that Kung Fu Panda 2 was a great film and had a great message in it. And Kung Fu Panda 3, yeah, that one really hit me hard. I was crying, like I said. But you know, yeah, check out Kung Fu Panda 2. If you're going through a lot, if you feel like you're going through a lot, just be still and try to have inner peace. I can give one example I always talk about. Well, I don't always talk about. Well, one example I always think about is in the movie Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee goes down into the opium factory that Mr. Han had underground. And he's just beating up guys. He's kicking the guys. He's hitting them with his nunchucks. He's, he's taking down hundreds of guys. And then there's one point where he gets backed into a corner and it's like 50 guys. And he's like, he knows that he can't, there's no, even with all his abilities, there's no way he's going to be able to defeat all these 50 guys. So eventually he just sits down, crosses his legs, puts the nunchucks around his neck, and he just kind of sits there and like he's meditating. I mean, of course he breaks out eventually, but at that point he, it's not like he necessarily gave up or resigned himself to, or he's being submissive or anything like that, or he's submitting to the wicked or the evil or whatever the case may be. Is that he went into himself. He didn't have an answer. He did not have an answer. His fists were not going to get him out of there. His words were not going to get him out of there. It's going to take something spiritual to get him out of there now, because his body, nothing in his physical person is going to get him out of that situation right now. So, of course it's just a movie, but, when he's surrounded by all these guys, he just sits down, crosses his legs, put the nunchucks around his neck, and like behind his neck, not like he's not like choking himself. He's just relaxing and putting them on his neck, and he goes into like a meditative sitting position. So when sometimes you do all you can do, you do as much as you can do on the physical plane. Then after that, you just let it go. You just let it go and you meditate on your inner peace. You try to give yourself inner peace. He looked very peaceful. I don't know if you get to see Enter the Dragon. It's a very violent film though, but at the point where he sits down and meditates, that just sticks out to me. But thanks for listening to this rant.